teaching credentials are about to get a whole lot more complicated for educators from New York and California seeking jobs in Oklahoma. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just about qualifications anymore, it's about ideology. In an unprecedented move, Oklahoma has announced that teachers coming from these two liberal-leaning states will need to pass a controversial exam crafted by PragerU, a conservative nonprofit, as part of their certification process. The test, according to state officials, is designed to ensure that only educators aligned with what they call America First values enter Oklahoma classrooms. But critics see it differently, labeling it a thinly veiled loyalty test rooted in partisan politics. Ryan Walters, Oklahoma's public schools superintendent and a prominent Republican figure, made the announcement earlier this week. He framed the initiative as a necessary step to protect students from what he describes as radical leftist ideology. Walters argues that certain states, California and New York among them, have fostered educational environments steeped in progressive philosophies that clash with Oklahoma's values. As long as I am superintendent, Walters stated emphatically, Oklahoma classrooms will be safeguarded from the radical leftist ideology fostered in places like California and New York. The assessment itself comes courtesy of PragerU, a conservative organization known for producing short, digestible videos that promote right-leaning perspectives on topics ranging from history to economics. While the group markets itself as a resource for changing minds through the creative use of digital media, its involvement in teacher certification has sparked widespread debate. Marissa Straight, CEO of PragerU, told CNN that some questions on the test focus specifically on countering so-called gender ideology, which she claims has influenced modern education negatively. However, opponents argue that such language reflects a broader agenda at odds with inclusivity and academic freedom. Quentin Hitchcock, a spokesperson for Oklahoma's Department of Education, confirmed that the final version of the exam is ready and will soon roll out. Though the full set of 50 questions remains undisclosed, a preview reveals thought-provoking prompts like identifying the opening words of the U.S. Constitution and explaining why religious freedom matters to America's national identity. These queries seem benign enough on the surface, but they hint at deeper ideological undertones that could alienate potential applicants. Jonathan Zimmerman, a professor specializing in the history of education at the University of Pennsylvania, described Oklahoma's partnership with PragerU as nothing short of groundbreaking, and not necessarily in a good way. This isn't just PragerU being one option among many, Zimmerman explained. They've become institutionalized within the state system. He pointed out that while reliance on textbooks has declined in recent years, with surveys showing that fewer than half of middle and high school teachers use them daily, this shift has opened the door for alternative resources like PragerU to gain traction. What sets Oklahoma apart, however, is how it's using PragerU not merely as a supplementary tool, but as a gatekeeper for future educators. Unsurprisingly, reactions have been mixed and heated. Randi Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, AFT, minced no words in her criticism. She called the exam a MAGA loyalty test that would further discourage already scarce teachers from relocating to Oklahoma. Weingarten also took aim at Walters personally, accusing him of prioritizing political visibility over student success. His priority should be educating students, she remarked, but instead, it's getting Donald Trump and other MAGA politicians to notice him. Tina Ellsworth, head of the National Council for the Social Studies, echoed similar concerns, emphasizing the dangers of imposing ideological litmus tests on educators. State boards of education should uphold the principles enshrined in the U.S. Constitution, Ellsworth asserted. But requiring teachers to pass an ideology-based exam undermines those very ideals. Meanwhile, State Representative John Waldron, chairman of the Oklahoma Democratic Party, slammed the policy as blatant indoctrination. Drawing parallels to darker chapters in American history, Waldron remarked, "If you want to see a textbook definition of indoctrination, look no further than this loyalty test for teachers." For context, Waldron himself might have fallen under scrutiny had this rule existed when he relocated from Washington, D.C. to teach social studies in Oklahoma back in 1999. Reflecting on his experience, he noted that such policies send a clear message. Oklahoma may not be serious about attracting top-tier educators. We're facing a massive teacher shortage, Waldron pointed out. It's not like we're inundated with candidates from blue states anyway. So why create barriers where none existed before? So where does all this leave us? Is Oklahoma setting a precedent that others might follow? Or is this simply a flashpoint in the ongoing culture wars? One thing is certain, the stakes couldn't be higher. By tying teacher certification to ideological alignment, Oklahoma risks alienating talented professionals who might otherwise bring fresh perspectives to its classrooms. At the same time, supporters insist that protecting traditional values is essential for preserving the integrity of public education. But here's where it gets controversial. Should states have the authority to impose such tests, or does this represent an overreach into personal beliefs? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Are you for or against Oklahoma's bold experiment?